Assalamu alaikum. I am Abu Sufyan. Today is our topic is about Open System Interconnection Model or OSI model. Why we need Open System Interconnection Model? Here we show that two computers, one runs Windows and another is Mac. Their architecture are different, so how they are interconnect or communicate each other. For solve this problem, here introduced with a model that called OSI model. The OSI model referred by International Standard Network Architecture. This model have 7 layers. The application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transfer layer, network layer, data link layer, physical layer. The application layer is the topmost layer that directly interconnect with human. The presentation layer is used for data encryption, decryption and compression. Session layer manages the session between user and the server. Transport layer is also called the heart of the OSI model. The transport layer used to data flow control, error control, also using protocol TCP and UDP. Network layer is used to find the best routing path between user and the server. Data link layer. Data link layer used to transfer the data from user to sender by adding valuable information. Physical layer is the layer that are mainly devices. We can say that the data transmission cables or router, switch, hub, etc. The application layer. This layer the only layer that directly interconnect with data from the user. The software application like web browser and email client rely on the application layer to interconnect communication. This layer use some protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, SMTP. We show the protocols here that it for file transfer it use FTP, for web surfing it use HTTP or HTTPS. HTTP means the normal web surfing and HTTPS means the secure web surfing. For email transfer it use SMTP, POP3 and virtual telnet it use telnet. The presentation layer. The main function of presentation layer is encryption, decryption and data compression. The data compression is very essential because it increases the transmission rate. So that the purpose of presentation layer. Translation. Here we show that in computer data are in different form. It can be some digit or code that translate into binary form. Then after the binary form, data compression is come. Data compression reduce the bit from the binary code by using lossy or lossless algorithm. Further, it encrypt or decrypt. It encrypt for the our next layer, session layer, or decrypt for the our presentation layer. It use SSL secure socket layer for do this task. The session layer. The session layer is responsible for the maintain communication session between the user and server. The session layer is used very essential because of if we download some movies, the movie is a big file that 1 GB or 2 GB. I request the server for download a movie. The session layer manage the session that need the time to be download this movie. It maintain this track for the user. We so that the session layer it use APIs or NetBIOS for maintain the session. Also session layer Also session layer manage the session management, authentication, authorization. Let's look the authentication, authorization and session management system. If a user want to browse Facebook, for that she request a server for browse Facebook by provide their username and password. That username or password if matched to the server database, that is called authentication. That user is authenticated to browse Facebook. After it browsing Facebook, he entered the server, that the server check the authentication authorization part for this user. The authorization is what? The user what kind of file they can browse. That is called authorization. The user cannot view the in Facebook, the user cannot view the locked profile, so that it called one kind of restriction, that is called authorization. And furthermore, the session management. The session management is that the user if try to download some file or text file, image file or text file, that image and text are sent to the browser in a data packet, and this session have to be managed until the all of packet come to the user. That is called session management. The transport layer, it called the heart of ISO model. It is responsible for end-to-end communication between two devices. Transport layer also responsible for flow control, error control, and so on. Let's show that the transmission layer. Uh, my video is. The transmission layer also do segmentation. So data segmentation. What is data segmentation? Data are divided into different data unit. That is called data segmentation. The data segmentation have two parts: the sequence number and port number. The port number is determined that which application is used this data unit. Sequence number is used to rearrange the data for the application. And the flow control. So what is flow control? A server, let's look that a server and that a client a request to server to send them some data. The server broadband speed is 100 Mbps and the client speed is 10 Mbps. So by the help of transport layer, the client can say to the server that reduce the transfer rate up to 10 Mbps, that can no lossy data transmission. And the error control. What is error control? Data are sent into several segments or segmented. The user are can be miss some data. So by the help of checksum, this is called a mechanism by add some extra bits. By this checksum, it can check the data that which data is missing, and the client say to the server that resend this data again, or corrupted data sent. That is called error control. Transport layer also maintain the protocol of TCP and UDP. So what is TCP? TCP is a transmission control protocol and UDP is a user diagram protocol. TCP is applicant for web server, uh, transfer mail, FTP, file browsing, etc. TCP is a correction oriented protocol that provide the feedback or secure connection for the client and the server. and UDP is the user datagram protocol. UDP is connectionless. For that's why UDP is faster than TCP. Come to the network layer. Network layer is responsible for facilitating the data transfer between two different networks. It also found the lowest data routing path between the destination and server. So let's look at the routing. Here device A and device B. Device, we know that every device have the IP address, their unique IP address. So here device B unique IP address is 192.168.2.1 and B is request for Facebook. So B is requesting Facebook. The Facebook receive the request and send the data as a data packet. So we are also at the subnet mask 225.225.225.0. Here we show that there have 3 to 25 for that represent the first 3 bit are byte, 3 byte are for network ID and last one is the device ID. So the packet come from the Facebook and sent to the router. The router check the network ID and then last digit is device ID. So that is 1. So send to the PC for Facebook request. Also the path determination. A receiver and sender can be communicate with different path. There are various type of path can be occurs. For finding the shortest path by using those algorithm OSPF, open shortest path, BGP and ISIS etc. can be used. Let's show the data link layer. The data link layer is very similar to the network layer, except the data link layer facilitates the data transfer between two devices on the same network. The data link layer takes packets from the network layer and break it into smallest pieces called frame. Let's show that that is called segment. The segment is the mainly it is a data portion and destination source and destination IP address with binding. That is called data packet. After that, when commit data link layer, it also adds some extra values, that is MAC address, source and destination MAC address and their packets information. All of our combination is called a frame. So let's come to the physical layer. This layer includes the physical equipment involved in the data transfer, such as the cable, switch and etc. It converts the data into binary form or bits form 0 and 1. Let's look the data conversation. If a user want to say hi, so data come to the transport layer segment this data. The network layer make it segmented data into a packet by adding source and destination IP address. After come in data link layer that transfer into packet by adding source and destination MAC address and extra addresses information. After that, when come it the physical layer, it convert the full data or frame into a binary form 0 and 1 form. After that, this physical layer transfer those 0 and 1 data into different cable, like coaxial cable. It can be transferred low voltage and high voltage. In optical fiber, it can be transferred by light on and off. It can represent 0 and 1. in air it can transfer by radio wave. Let's show the reassemble. If a message is sent by media or network IC, then receive the signals in other destination area, the signal convert into bits, then convert it to data, then transfer into data link layer, then network layer. That's why it's come to the application layer. The application layer show the message hi to the receiver. Let's look. There is a sender. He want to transmit a data. That data are come to the application layer, then presentation layer. It compress the data. Session layer maintain the session. Transport layer divide the data into different segment. Then network layer come. It make the segment into a packet. Then data link layer make this into a frame, and physical layer make the frame into a bits 0 and 1 bits and transfer into different though media. We can say it a coaxial cable or LAN cable, etc. Then the receiver when receive this message by physical layer convert this bit into a frame, then transfer it data link layer. Data link layer decrypt the data from frame to packet and transfer it the network layer. Network layer decapsulate the packet into segment and transfer to the transport layer. Transport layer receive the segment and send the data into session layer. After that, presentation layer decrypt the data and the application layer and transfer to the application layer. The application layer is show the message to the receiver. This is the work procedure of this OSI model. Thank you.